Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to worship on this Sunday, this third Sunday of Advent at Union-Congregational Church, where no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here, whether in person in these pews or online, whether today or throughout the week. We are so glad that you're with us today. I have a couple of announcements as we start out. So tonight at 5 o'clock, and I apologize, I should have said this last week, but tonight at 5 p.m., the Christian churches of Waupun are gathering at City Hall for a lessons and carols service. All of the area pastors will be taking part in the service and will sing and pray and experience scripture together. We would love for as many of you who want to join us. It'll be a great part of our Advent observance together, and they're hoping to make this an annual thing. This is the first time I think that they've done something quite of this scale, and they're hoping to make it a more regular thing. So please join us for that. Please be mindful of people's comfort levels with handshakes and hugs right now. And please also be respectful if someone tells you they don't want one. COVID and RSV and the flu are all going around all at the same time. And I want you all to stay healthy. If you're sick, please stay home and join us on Zoom. We really appreciate your cooperation in this time, and we'll continue to take care in our communion observances and in our other pieces of worship to try to be conscious of the level of touching and physical contact that worship relies upon. I think Lori Van Hoff has an announcement.
I just wanted to remind the congregation that we're still in need of volunteers for the bell ringing for the Salvation Army Red Kettle campaign. The dates we're committed to are this coming Friday, December 16th, and Saturday, December 17th, and it's at Martin's Farm and Home. The sign-up sheet is in the fellowship hall on the butcher block, and there's still quite a few openings, so if you would consider that, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Are there other announcements today for the good of the community? Hearing none, I invite Jeff to lead us in the call to worship.
Good morning. Please join me in the responsive call to worship. Our souls magnify the Lord. Our spirits rejoice in God the Savior. We come today, eager hope, waiting God's new revolution. The Mighty One has done great things. God's mercy covers generations. We come today with ready peace, and anticipation. The one who lifted up the lowly and filled the hungry dwells within us. We come today with fervent joy. We worship with great expectation. Please join with me in the unison opening prayer. God of Mary, Ruth, Bathsheba, and Rahab, God of us all, your children here and your children afar, we enter this moment of worship with eager anticipation. We know that even before a child would come to lead the way, you were leading our way. From the valleys of the shadows of death to the tables in the presence of enemies, you have never left or forsaken us. Your rod and your staff that guided us, guide us now, O God. Make your presence known as we worship you, Spirit and in truth. Amen. Let us sing the opening hymn, number 180, Little Town of Bethlehem, verses 1, 3, and 4. Stand if you are able.
Please be seated. We now come to the time of lighting the Advent candle.
Soon we will celebrate the birth of Jesus. We worship God with joy in our hearts as we are reminded of the words the angel said on the first Christmas day. Behold, bring you good news of a great joy, which will come to all the people.
From John chapter 15, verses 9 through 11. As the Creator loved me, I too have loved. Remain in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will remain in my love, just as I kept my Creator's commandments and remain in God's love. I have said these things to you so that my joy will be in you and your joy will be complete.
We light this candle to proclaim the coming of the light of God into the world. With the coming of this light, there is joy, joy that is ours not only at Christmas, but always.
Please pray with me. O Holy One, as Christmas draws near, there is a sense of excitement in the air. We can feel our joy in our lives and see it in those around us. Still, for some of us, this is a sad time because of unhappy things that have happened in our lives. Help us to have the joy that does not depend on earthly happiness, but on you. Help us to be filled with your joy so that we may share it with a joyless world. Amen.
Thank you, everybody. Now we join together in our candle lighting song. We'll be adding the verse for joy this week. So please rise if it's comfortable for you to do so and join us in We Light a Candle. And please be seated. Now I invite any young worshipers who are with us to join me on the steps. Hi, everybody. Wow, lots today. That's awesome. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Good? Good. Me too. I'm doing pretty good today too. Today we are talking about joy. Can anybody tell me what they think joy is? What does it mean to be joyful? Yeah. Happy? Yeah. Yeah, great. It does mean to be happy. So can you tell me about a time when you were really happy, like so excited? Can you think of something that happened in your life that made you very joyful? Sometimes it takes a minute. It's all good. Well, I can tell you that a time in my life that I was very joyful was when I found out that I would be here, that I would get to be your pastor, and that was really an exciting time in my life that happened. Did I see a hand? Did somebody think of something? Yeah.
I got my first snowmobile.
When you got your first snowmobile? Oh yeah, yeah. That's awesome. So today we're going to be talking about a time when Mary was super joyful because she found out that she was going to have a baby, and she didn't know she was having a baby, but she was having a baby that was going to change the whole world. And she understood what that meant. She understood that Jesus was pretty special, right? And so that's an exciting time. That is why we celebrate that is why we celebrate joy in Advent. So what are some things that we can do to share joy with other people? What kinds of things can we do to share joy? Yeah.
Put out, like, show people, like, happiness, like, doing great things for people.
Doing good things for people. Yeah. Showing people that you're happy and helping other people be happy. Yeah, that's good. Any other ideas? There are all sorts of ways that we can share joy. So let's pray together. So I'm going to say a short phrase, and I invite you all to repeat it after me. Dear God, thank you for sharing your joy with us. Help us be joyful in our living, in our speaking, in our actions, and in our loving. Amen. Thanks for coming up, everybody.
Scripture this morning comes from Luke 1, verses 46 through 55. Mary said, "With all my heart, I glorify the Lord. In the depths of who I am, I rejoice in God, my Savior. God has looked with favor on the low status of God's servant. Look, from now on, everyone will consider me highly favored, because the Mighty One has done great things for me. Holy is his name. He shows mercy to everyone, from one generation to the next, who honors him as God. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered those arrogant thoughts and proud inclinations. He has pulled the powerful down from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty-handed. He has come to the aid of his servant Israel, remembering his mercy, just as he promised to our ancestors, to Abraham and to Abraham's descendants forever." Our second reading is from Matthew, chapter 12, verses 2 through 11. Now, when John heard in prison about the things that Christ was doing, he sent word by his disciples to Jesus, asking, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we look for another?" Jesus responded, "Go report to John what you hear and see. Those who were blind are able to see. Those who were crippled are walking. People with skin diseases are cleansed. Those who were deaf now hear. Those who are dead are raised up. The poor have good news proclaimed to them. Happy are those who don't stumble and fall because of me." When John's disciples had gone, Jesus spoke to the crowds about John. "What did you go out to the wilderness to see? A stalk blowing in the wind? What did you go out to see? A man dressed up in refined clothes? Look, those who wear refined clothes are in royal palaces. What did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. He is the one of whom is written, 'Look, I am sending my messenger before you, who will prepare your way before you.' I assure you that no one who has ever been born is greater than John the Baptist. Yet whoever is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he." Here end the readings for today. May God bless us as we learn from these holy words. Amen.
Thank you, Jeff. My friends, will you join me in prayer? God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts in this hour be acceptable to you. For you are our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. So raise your hand if you can say with confidence that you believe in miracles. Yeah, thank you. You can put your hands down. For those of you who raised your hand, did you hesitate at first? Did you have to think for a minute? Were you waiting to see where I was going with this before you made a judgment? And in some ways, I have to admit that I myself struggle to believe in miracles. Maybe I'm too cynical, or maybe I'm a product of a society that has to analyze everything, where everything has to have a reason for being. Sometimes the word itself feels overused to me, since it's used to describe miracles that aren't actually miracles. Childbirth? Yeah, I can say childbirth is a miracle, no matter the circumstances of the child and the parents. It is a miracle. But finding the one empty spot in the parking lot at a Walmart supercenter on a busy afternoon, not so much. People have many reasons to be cynical. Throughout the last few years, I've heard people talk about the exhaustion of listening to the nightly news, referring to an endless loop of violence and depression that dominates the narrative. It also has a cumulative effect on us as we grow older, which adds to the sadness as well. Biblically, those of us who are cynical are in good company with John the Baptist today. He sends his disciples to go see Jesus, saying, "How can we be sure that this is the one?" One commentary by Stanley Saunders, who served on the faculty at Columbia Theological Seminary in Atlanta, suggests that there are two different emotions that John could be conveying when he asks this question. He is either deeply hopeful and filled with awe of that Jesus is really here, or he's exasperated because of the long line of people who have purportedly been the one chosen by God to bring about God's dream for the world, and that hasn't panned out. So John's disciples go to Jesus for answers. Jesus responds, "Go, report to John what you hear and see. Those who were blind are able to see. Those who were crippled are walking. People with skin diseases are cleansed. Those who were deaf now hear. Those who were dead raised up. The poor have good news proclaimed to them." But as an advocate, my words are not coming out. As an advocate for disability representation in the Bible and in the church that is just and generous, I have to note that using the curing of disabilities as evidence for Christ's presence in the world is troubling. For me and for many of my colleagues in the disability theology world, doing so perpetuates this erroneous notion that those of us who live with incurable disabilities are not worthy of or don't experience the love of God, of Jesus, or of society unless our disability is taken away. Sure, I experience the healing presence of Christ and Christ's revolutionary love. But I do not need to be cured of my disability to experience those things. So while this is a biblical account, I want us to watch out for how folks in various minority groups are being represented in the biblical text. Yet at the same time, the redeeming quality of this text comes through its recognition of things that can only be possible through Jesus Christ, whose coming we await. At the end of this text, Jesus makes it clear that John the Baptist's prophecy is connected to him, further cementing his mandate. So in her song in Luke chapter 1, which is commonly known as the Magnificat, Mary understands this too. She recognizes that her baby is no ordinary child, but instead someone who will fundamentally change the entire world as she and her people knew it. Whenever I encounter this text, I'm always amazed at the level Mary understood about what Jesus would do for the world, even as she got the news of her pregnancy in a rather shocking way. Somehow, the only way she knows how to respond is to sing about it. She sings with passion, with hope, with excitement, and with wonder at what God is doing. If only they had a megaphone in biblical times, because I think Mary would have used one. Mary resolves to choose joy in the midst of incredibly difficult circumstances. She and Joseph hadn't gotten married yet, so in multiple ways they were deviating from the social expectations of the day, and doing so had much graver consequences in those days than doing so in our society. I wonder how much that scared her. Mary's song focuses on the awe and wonder that she feels at receiving this news, but not much on whatever fears she might have. She chooses to raise her voice in praise, even in the midst of all that uncertainty. So in our two scriptures for today, we've seen two ways of responding to the arrival, the life, and the ministry of Jesus Christ. And to be honest, in some ways, I would not fault either response. John the Baptist is cynical, or at least wary, that the presence of Jesus could be this miraculous. Mary is overjoyed at the miracle she knows is on its way inside of her. And indeed, Jesus would go on to do unimaginable, liberating work, feeding the hungry, holding space for those in need of love and grace, giving good news to the poor, all the liberation of so many people that so many people find in Jesus Christ in their own circumstances truly is miraculous. So what does this mean for us today? This is the good news, friends. We may have different reactions to the coming of Jesus, but his coming will change the way we live in profound ways. We're called to respond with joyful expectation as we await his coming. What does it look like for you to choose joy in this Advent season? For some, we might find joy in spending time with our family as we spend the holidays together. We might even find joy in the chaos. But for some of us, the prospect of finding joy does not seem to resonate with our experiences. Maybe we're dealing with the loss of a loved one, or this season is difficult for us for some other reason. Perhaps you might find joy in the quiet, peaceful moments of sitting by a fire, reminiscing, or waiting for things to turn around. We might be cynical or exasperated because these are exhausting times. But this is a miracle we can believe in, no matter how cynical, exasperated, or distressed we might sometimes feel. Jesus is on his way, and his life and ministry is going to make the world further aligned with God's hopes and desires. I find hope and joy in that for you, for me, for all of us. As we wait, let us do what we can towards the work of God's desires in the world. Let us choose joy in the ways in which we can. Amen. Now please rise if it's comfortable for you to do so and join us in hymn 190, Lo how a rose e'er bloometh. Please be seated. Now I invite you to take a deep breath with me. And let us prepare our hearts for a time of more focused prayer. We offer our joys and our concerns today. As usual, after each prayer petition, and I'll tell you what to say this time because I think I might have forgotten last week. So I will say, God and your mercy, and I will invite you to respond, receive our prayer. God and your mercy, receive our prayer. I got a prayer request from Christina Newman for Paul Hartle, who's a friend of the congregation. He has an ankle fusion surgery this week. For Paul, God and your mercy, receive our prayer. What other prayers do we have today? Anything? Anything on Zoom? Okay. Oh, yeah, Lori.
Just prayers for Rick's hand and arm pain that he's been having so severely.
Yeah. For prayers for Rick Van Hoff as he deals with hand and arm pain. For Rick, God in your mercy, receive our prayer. Anything else today? Alana has a microphone if we need it. Okay. Then let us join in a time of silent prayer. Gracious and loving and merciful God, we give you thanks for gathering us in this place together. We give you thanks that you fill our hearts with joy, even in the most difficult times we might face. We remember those who need an extra portion of your love and grace and comfort. People like Paul and people like Rick, as they deal with the situations in their lives, and others who might struggle with this season for one reason or the other. We give you thanks that you receive our prayers, both spoken and unspoken. And we give thanks for your Son who is coming and who was a model to all of us, to each of us from the very beginning, and who taught us to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. We now come to a time in our worship where we offer the gifts that we've brought with us today. Union-Congregational Church gives thanks for all gifts that are brought, whether time, talent, or treasure. And we invite you to give generously as your heart and spirit allow you to give. For you to do so and join us in our doxology, the words will be on the screen. Please join me in the prayer of dedication. For the wondrous ways this offering will bless our community, we dedicate these gifts. For the ways it will help us live out God's mission, we dedicate these gifts. Let these gifts strengthen our call to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly. Amen. So we're repeating a hymn that we did a couple of weeks ago. This is People Look East, number 161. Please join us. My friends, receive these words of benediction. Go forth with great expectation, waiting for God's mercy to fill us. Wait for God's grace to surround us. Wait for God's child to lead us. And in that waiting, may God bless and keep you. May God's face shine upon you. May God be gracious to you and give you peace. Now may the love of God, the grace of Jesus Christ, and the communion of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore. Go in peace. Amen.